Shalom. Kol halalim Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawshai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawshai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hawshai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. And a hearty shalom to the prophets of that body. Shalom to the 144,001 May peace and blessings be upon your households. You know, even looking, Esau lets you know on the left-hand side what they're going to do and the capabilities they have with regards to their technology. You know, and I mean, they are wiser than Daniel. So, and on the left-hand side, Yahweh Shai has given certain technologies and abilities to these heathens. You know, especially the Germans, the Temanites, as well as the other Edomites. That's that's a lot of these scientists that are in America are usually from Eastern Europe or Europe in itself. You know, and it's the reason why they show in their movies they always have a German accent, right? Because those are ancient, those are the Temanites, through the Edomites. Within the Edomites, they have like, there's they're certain tribes as well, like Amalek and Teman, etc., right? And so what they show you, where they've got this sort of AI technology where you can tell, you're quite impressed with the likeness they can get of individuals, but they got it in a sort of a cartoonish way, where you can tell, shit, that's AI. Oh, that's AI. That's AI. You can tell, right? They just let you know that they've got the capabilities, but they're showing you a sort of like a whack version of a certain technology like AI or deep fakes, which they show online. Some of them are good. Some of them are kind of like, to a level where you can tell it's artificial. But what they show you in the forefront is completely different for what they have in the background. They've got capabilities that they've been showing you, right? Like I'm going according to my memory and my timeline. Since I was a child in the '80s, they've got like, Terminator 1984, RoboCop the first one 1985, right? Total Recall, I think that's the one, and Running Man was the early '90s, where they show you deep fake in there, where they can set people up. They can make them look like they've committed an MURDER. They've deleted someone, and it's not really you doing it, right? But they've got the version which is really highly realistic. And if you look here, you've got this weird old Pope, the PDF file, okay, where he's wearing, they've got like street attire on him, where they've got the chain hanging outside his puffer coat, which is usually a look. This look is usually donned by the UK Jakes, with the puffer coat and all that. I've seen some others, maybe Chicago as well, but they got it on this cracker, this Edomite, this weirdo, all right? He's apparently DEAD and gone, all right? So they've got capabilities to do these things, all right? And which means a lot of people, even when they have shown deepfakes in the past, example, the two towers that fell on September the 11th in 2001, I'm not going to say, you know how it is, right? That plane flying through the sky, was that really real? People actually believed it. That's another example of they're using their technology. Okay, they can make certain people appear to be certain ethnicities on camera. All right, so the hate goes in a certain direction. Pressure from above, pressure from below, and a lot of people don't question it. They actually have faith in the government. And when people see certain people doing certain things and saying certain things, they're not going to question, oh, that could be deep fake, because that hatred is there for the Israelites. So when they start, using brown faces, dark brown faces, light brown faces, certain types of features of Israelites, right? And usually the stereotypical ones as well, right? They start using their images for certain things, which they'll show in the future in the news very soon. They're going to put that hatred towards the Israelites, because Esau, the so-called white man, likes to control the dynamic to push their agenda in a certain direction. Okay, and this is how they do it, through Hegelian dialectic, which is pressure from above, pressure from below, so they can control the outcome of a certain situation. And that outcome is the demise of this world, and also to put you Israelites in subjection and to delete you. So they think that if they can get rid of you Israelites and stop the prophecies, the so-called white man, they think they can rule forever. But they don't realize that the Lord has put them on a certain timeline. Okay, and they can't stop that. They actually think that they can go against the power of heaven and earth. That's how come they're so puffed up and prideful, right? And it's got to the point where, Denmark. This is about a month old. This news. Denmark to tackle deep fakes by giving people copyright to their own features. If you've heard the likes of Ice Cube and other rappers say that, oh, if this affects my pocket, my money, they're using my likeness, my voice for certain types of music. Where they're using Ice Cube's voice for a jazz track, or I don't know. They're using Tupac's voice for certain different genres of music or whatever, or they're using uh, uh, they're using Mike Tyson's voice and likeness to sing California Love or something. A lot of people are saying, especially I believe Ice Cube said that, he's going to sue them or something like that. So a lot of people are up in arms. Really, it's usually about the money side, especially with most of the rappers and stuff and entertainers. You know, but Denmark is to tackle deep fakes by giving people copyright to their own features. You know, people have to actually take copyright. Get something done. Get something done. Get a certificate for their own likeness. Get a trademark for their own likeness. Get a stamp of approval for their own likeness, because their likeness can be used. You know, uh, for evil things. The same way that T app, which is used where a man's likeness can be used, and his information put out there by some distraught woman who wouldn't give her the time of day, or by some woman, that's pissed off, puts her ex-husband's picture up there because he's found a younger, better version that's more subservient, more feminine, and actually listens and doesn't cheat. He's moving on to something better. So that his ex-wife, who's probably been plowed by everyone, even heathens, puts his likeness up there. So you got a lot of individuals that can suffer in various ways, man. You know, and they could use this, but the men of the Lord ain't gonna take out copyright to their own features, because Yahweh Shemashai has the stamp of approval for their likeness. And Yahweh Shemashai will cover the elect from the apostles on down, and whoever they are. And if any elect members do get caught up in a situation, Yahweh Shemashai will provide them a way to get out of that situation. Will provide them an avenue. When all the roads are closed, the Lord will open that road for you, that avenue. Will break the gate for you to walk through the situation unscathed, Lord willing. Right? I'm going to get to some scriptures in a second as I read this article. The Danish government is to clamp down on the creation and dissemination of AI-generated deepfakes by changing copyright law to ensure that everybody has a right to their own body, facial features, and voice. It's got to that point now. Where you got to change a copyright law, where you got to include yourself as a human being, as an entity. To get a stamp of approval, some kind of, I don't know how they're going to do it. They probably might not give you a physical certificate, right? Because everything's going paperless, or they may, I don't know, right? But you'll have to get something official to say, okay, this is me, you know, this is I don't know, Philip Smith, born July the 21st, 1968, or something like that, height 6'3". Well, I don't know how they're going to do it, but you got to actually prove who you are in that respect, which is crazy, right? Now, if there is a so-called photocopy of you or a likeness of you, it should be your twin brother or your twin sister, or maybe your father whose nutsack you come out of. Not a blatant version of your face and features being used in AI or deep fakes, where they could say, okay, Philip Smith did this and that and the third, when really Philip Smith is probably chilling out in Jamaica, with his wife and children. But they say, oh, Philip Smith deleted 25 Edomites or uh, BOMBE a government office or something. I don't know, a government building. How they're going to try and push this agenda of making the men of the Lord, right, our apostles on down, our teachers, into hunted men, which the Israelites are hunted anyway, and they're trying to deleting us. This is just another way to trying to delete us, or trying to delete the Israelites, right? So they can try and put a roadblock to the prophecies. All right. The Danish government said on Thursday that it would strengthen protection against digital imitations of people's identities with what it believes to be the first law of its kind in Europe. You've got Europe highlighted in red. Let's go to scripture now. Okay, this is another way, including Psalm 83. It's a trap and a snare, right? To put the emphasis on. Ultimately, this is basically, what all this deep fake shit who's designed for is you Israelites, all right? And you Edomites, they're trying to make the heathen look good, right? And they're trying to make Israelites look bad. That's what it's designed for. Deep fake is designed for you Israelites, to get you Israelites done in, right? To set you guys up. It's just another trap and a snare, another jinn. All right, Psalm 83. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Bashem Shai. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Bashem Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Tumult is a trap or a snare, right? And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. All right, this is a form of crafty counsel, right? Anything that is a hindrance to our people's growth, right, in spirituality and our possible delay in salvation, or them trying to get in the way, is crafty counsel. Not that they can get in the way of the Israelites' salvation and our rulership to come, but they think they can. That's the thing, all right? Because the Lord has puffed them up, because they have been ruling over us for a short time, and these motherfucking crackers and heathens think that we got Jake in subjection forever. They don't realize, man. Okay, that the power of heaven and earth, Yahweh Bashem Shai, can make a scumbag cracker Edomite, who's less than a maggot, right? Stinking like piss and shit and hot dog water on all fours, from the mountains of the Mount Seir to the Caucasus Mountains, and even up until to this day, right? Okay, they're not right in the head, right? A scumbag like that, they made them rulers and made them the hunk of the earth. Do you not think that the Lord is a man that he should lie? We got punished, didn't we? So don't you think what the next chapter is? We're going to rule, and you crackers are going in slavery forever, and you're not going to rule ever again. And you heathens too, you're not going to rule ever again as well. Damn gooks and shit buying everything, right? And you heathens too, man. And if I haven't mentioned you heathens, if you're not a so-called black, Hispanic, or native Indian, and if you don't come from the loins of those men, right, the royal Israelite tribes, you are a heathen. Okay. Now, to be an Israelite, you don't have to have the original look, because the so-called black, Hispanic, and native Indian man have been dealing with women of other nations, especially the so-called black man, dealing with women for other nations. For man, listen, I'm in my late 40s. I've been seeing this since I was a child, man. All right, late 70s, early 80s, seeing brothers with white women. All right, in the 90s, I saw brothers with Indian women. All right, and to this day, you even see, I've even heard of Hispanic men marrying Indian women. I've even heard of Hispanic men marrying white women, Polish women, Japanese women, Chinese women. You know, all right. That's where you see certain Mexican girls who look like damn near gooks, but they're actually Ishakar. You know, so forth and so on, man. We've been dealing with women from generations, and sometimes a look can change straight away. And if you gravitate towards this truth, count yourself blessed. All right. Verse 4. Let's read verse 3 again. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And this is a form of a way they want to cut you off from being a nation, man. They want to set you up, man. Set up traps and snares. Who did this? Oh, it was the Israelites. And who are the Israelites? So-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Oh, the problem. So the so-called one was saying, oh, it's just a bunch of niggers. You know, what they're going to do then? They're going to say, oh, yeah, all these niggers are Israelites. You know, let's get them. You know, just to amplify and chuck fuel on the fire. So this is just another tool. And they've been doing it. You've seen those fake masks these crackers use, right? These rubber, realistic skin type masks, right? And they choose a stereotypical face as well, you know? That dark skin, big rubber lipped look, you know what I mean? Big wide nose looking like Frank Bruno or Chris Eubank, you know? They usually choose a look like that, you know, which they usually make caricatures in cartoons, you know? These crackers put these masks on and these fake hands on to do robberies and shit. And they always say it's a black man that's doing it. Shit, 70, 80% of the time it's a cracker that's doing it or a heathen, but they're using your likeness. Now they're going to move on to AI. All right. So this is going to be another tool into trying to get you Israelites. All right. Having secured. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Let's just read this part. Having secured broad cross-party agreement, the Department of Culture plans to submit a proposal to amend the current law for consultation before the summer recess, and then submit the amendment in the autumn. That's this year. All right. This news came out at the end of June. All right. Month 6. It defines a deep fake as a very realistic digital representation of a person, including their appearance and voice. All right, so they're going to give you fake people, fake music, and they're going to give you fake money too. Everything's going to be digital, man. The Danish culture minister Jacob Engel-Schmidt, Engel, Jacob, said he hoped the bill before Parliament would send an unequivocal message that everybody had the right to the way they looked and sounded. Right? Yeah, absolutely. You think Jake's gonna be reading this article? You know, I was watching some reaction videos, not reaction videos, those prank videos or whatever. You know, you watch some bullshit in between, you know, in your downtime or whatever, right? And you had a lot of Jakes questioning why are all the Dollar Trees or even the UK pound stores, you know, the equivalent of a Dollar Tree, are closing. They have no idea that this the Lord is shutting shop on Esau's world. They have no idea why the economy is fucked up. You realize that? Jake is constantly as, you know, I hate to use the term, niggerdom. That's all they're concerned about. You know? That's why the powers that be have send all these dumbass niggas out there, like Ari Spears, Ice Cube arguing about Ari Spears saying that the West Coast is bullshit, or no, something like that. Ice Cube is not a good rapper or an actor or whatever. Then, you know, just more bullshit news for Jakes to, you know, to focus their, you know, folly onto, you know, just to focus on while the real shit's happening in the background. You know, there's just another little bit of news. You know, and all the other bullshit that's coming out there. You know, which rapper can Jim Jones rap and or Nas or whatever? And Jim Jones is bullshit, man. All right, we know Nas is better, but nevertheless, you know, that's another talking point for Jake. I don't give a fuck what's going on, man. Especially shit, man. Our people are gonna get caught out hardcore, bro. He added, human beings can be run through the digital copy machine and be misused for all sorts of purposes, and I'm not willing to accept that. Pressure from above, pressure from below. You know, and this could even lead. They see they create these dynamics from the start. They can say, okay, yeah, let's use AI, right, and let's also create a law. Let's start in Europe, not in America, right? Let's start in Europe, okay? Why? Then they're going to say, okay, then it might get to the point where people might have to be C-hip. This could be another avenue for them to amplify the C-hip, to entice people that, oh shit, I don't want my likeness used. So to make sure that I'm the real deal, this is my C-hip number. That I don't know how they're going to do it. This is me. This is my likeness. I've got this particular C-hip, the mark of the BEAST, right? This is me specifying who I am. You know, this is me verifying that this is my likeness. However the Lord will do it. That could be another avenue also. All right. But they're going to use this technology, man, to try and come to use the men of the Lord, or even use likeness of certain people and sort of like create a rendition of individuals. Like they could use 3 people from IUIC, 3 people from ISUPK, 3 people from the real men of the Lord, men of Great Millstone, use their likenesses and sort of like create their own rendition and put different garments on them, create a different camp, and put them together in a fake AI video saying fucked up shit. And then all the pressure, what's going to happen then? Try and amplify the energy of the heathen nations, especially the so-called white man, against Jake. Or Jake wearing garments with fringes doing certain shit. This is what they're going to use. All right? All right? And a rendition of these assholes, Sakari and that, wearing bulletproof vests, having automatic weapons and shit, trying to be G'd up. And none of them probably can scrap. None of them are in shape. Sakari's a fat fuck. Look at him, man. You think he could chuck it in the field? Do you think he actually can fight somebody? Guaranteed someone who's 5'6", 5'7" probably knock him out. His height don't mean shit. He's a fat, tubby boy. That's what it is. Okay, yeah, he's got height. That's about it. He doesn't even work out. The dude probably can't even do 60 push-ups, right? And all these guys acting tough with their guns. When this shit gets real in the field, guaranteed they're gonna run, man. They're gonna be running for cover. But the men of the Lord are gonna be protected. Let's see anything else. The move, which is believed to have the backing of 9 in 10 MPs, comes amid rapidly developing AI technology that has made it easier than ever to create a convincing fake image, video, or sound to mimic the features of another person. The changes to Danish copyright law will, once approved, theoretically give people in Denmark the right to demand that online platforms remove such content if it is shared without consent. All right. Oh shit, look. It will also cover realistic digitally generated imitations of an artist's performance without consent. A violation of the proposed rules could result in compensation for those affected. This reminds me of that movie Gattaca, if you've seen it, with who's that cracker from the Edomite that was with uh, Denzel Washington in Training Day, Jake Hoyt, yeah, whatever that Edomite's name is. It's a movie called Gattaca, right? And is it Gattaca? Yeah, Gattaca, yeah. I think he's in it, yeah. Where, he uses somebody's likeness, name, and the other ways to sort of imitate that guy so he can become, get a certain job or certain position because the world and in the movie is a dystopian environment, It's a world where technology runs a show. It's a 1997 movie. It's along those lines anyway. Nevertheless, It will also cover realistic digitally generated imitations of an artist's performance without consent. Violation of the proposed rules could result in compensation for those affected. All right. The government said the new rules would not affect parodies and satire, which would still be permitted. Okay, parodies or satire. So they're going to leave people that are making using likeness for comedy, right? But that's about it. Or it says that European countries would follow. All right. Anyway, Matthew 24 and 24. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. All right. They might even use this. They're thinking that, okay, yeah, let's use this, make the Israelites look a certain way, say evil things, so they can stop following that movement, right? So the people, the Jakes that are waking up in the great, in the Great Awakening, right, can go back to their previous ways of love everyone, and this using harsh or strong language, or this is what they're saying. We don't want all that, blah, 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 you know. But they don't, but you won't deceive the very elect, because the elect are preordained, stamp of approved spiritually by Yahweh Bashim to make it through these hurdles and these curveballs that are thrown at them. Only the two parts are going to get caught, all right? And your heathens are going to get caught. Simple as that. You jakes, and you jakes that the Lord doesn't want are going to get deceived, okay? You're going to get thrown out. You're going to get spewed out. And the heathen are going to get spewed out. All right, but the elect are covered, man. All right, this is not going to affect the elect. Even if the elect are, their images are used, they're not going to get caught. Their back might be against the wall, but Yahweh Shemashai is going to deliver them out of that situation, because the Lord always provides an avenue and a way to get out of a situation. And if you have to die in the situation, the Lord will give you an honorable death where, hey man, you might not even feel the pain. Actually, you won't feel the pain. Not Mike, you won't feel the pain. Your head is, separated from your body. You won't feel that pain. You'll feel like a feather tickling your neck. Your hands are hit with hammers, right? You won't feel that pain. You feel like a feather tickling your toes or your hands, or however they torture you. You won't feel it, because the angels will be there. Because you put faith in Yahweh Hashem Yashai, Hebrews 11 verse 1, Hebrews 11 verse 6, right? You put faith in the Lord will cover you, man. Those that don't have the faith, they're going to have the pain. And those are usually not part of the elect, of course, right? Isaiah 32 verse 7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. All right. Churl means brutish, or I've got the definition here, actually. Churl means a peasant, rustic. Churl means a boorish or surely person, a miser. Usually someone who's, not right in their mind to a certain degree, right? The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Right? And now, instruments, you know what? Let's go to, let's see if I can find this in the NIV. So that comes out different. Just curious to see what that would say. NIV, Isaiah 32 verse 7. Scoundrels use wicked methods. They make up evil schemes to destroy the poor with lies, even when the plea of the needy is just. This is just another wet method of scoundrels. And obviously, who's the ultimate scoundrel and scumbag is the so-called white man. And these heathens that are right behind him, and even 2/3 Jakes that are part of the plan also, whose mind they're probably using for these specific technologies, because Jacob is the form of all things, even for wickedness, right? And then obviously, then the Lord has also blessed certain Edomites with this knowledge also to create these evil technologies. Because they are the masterminds of evil. They don't sleep until they've you know thought. They can't move. They can't drink. They can't even have a sip of water without thinking about evil, doing evil, especially to you Israelites. Isaiah 32 verse 7, scoundrels use wicked methods. They make up evil schemes to destroy the poor with lies, even when the plea of the needy is just. And this AI technology is just another method, of evil schemes. You know, that's why it's got to the point where they're talking about, giving you copyright to your own features and your voice and your likeness. You know, Denmark is fighting AI by giving citizens copyright over their own voice, over their own face, voice, and body to protect against deep fakes. Denmark's copyright crusade against deepfakes, a legal shield for digital identity. I think that this will probably lead to more people taking the charagma just to prove who they are. You know, you know. Like for example, the charagma could let you know that okay, this person's got this many. I don't know, however they scientific words or technical words. This is how many creases this guy's got on his face, and this is how many. I don't know where his hairline starts from, and this is his ear measurement. That person has to have these specific requirements, or the charagma, the RF to the I to the D could give you that information just to prove your likeness, so it doesn't exactly match up with what's on the screen. You know, people. It could be another method into push the charagma. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there now. All right. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Rashai Bashem Kakwadash.